In this video, we're going to be going over the ideas of social optimization, tragedy of commons, and Coase theorem. So, social optimization is when you maximize society's total benefit. And this occurs when your quantity is that your MSB is equal to your MSC. Your marginal social benefit is equal to your marginal social cost. Marginal social benefit includes private benefit, and it also includes external benefit. Which is also known as positive externality. A positive externality is essentially when you have something happen that is a benefit, a spillover effect, when the production or the consumption of a good or service provides external benefits to third parties that are not involved in this transaction. Like, for example, vaccination, or when you have education or gardening. So, your MSB is equal to your MPB plus your MEB. Now, your marginal social cost is the total cost one more unit of a good. Marginal social benefit was the total benefit to society positive externalities was gardening, vaccination, and also education, but it will lead to market failure. It will make your market will supply less than the socially optimal amount. The reason why that happens is because society is already feeling the positive effects from another source. And that laziness is gonna cause no incentive, nothing to drive people to produce. And this is why the solution is usually government intervention. Subsidies, for example, vaccinations, to increase that not to produce, to consume. So those are your positive externalities. Now back to MSC, it is going to include your private cost, your MPC, and also your external cost, which are your negative externalities. So your equation is MSC is equal to MPC plus MEC. Now, your negative externalities are similar to your positive externalities in that negative externalities is a type of externality, which means that a third party is going to have a cost incurred on it, resulting in the production or the consumption of the goods, leading to market failure, where too much is produced. So, some examples of this is when you have pollution, you have noise. So these are all under negative externalities. These were under positive externalities. Causes include when are causes. Now our solutions So you have negative externality when your curve looks like this. That is your dead weight loss. Now your positive externalities look like this. This is when you have your MSC, MSB, and your PB. And that is the triangle. So again, in negative externality, you are going to have an MPC less than your MSC. Your fix is usually a tax. And for positive, your fix is a subsidy. At your optimal quantity. So that's equal for both of them, and then you're going to have social curve shifts. So when you have your MSB that is greater than your demand, that is a positive externality. MSC is above your supply, that is your negative externality. Deadweight loss equals when your market quantity is not your socially optimal quantity. It is the lost surplus from inefficiency. When you see that you have an external cost, which is this, you want to find your MSC and you want to shift supply up. Here you want to shift demand up and you want to find MSB. Now let's move on to the idea of the tragedy of commons. So tragedy of commons is when you have a shared resource that is overused because individuals are selfish, and they act in self-interest, personal benefit. Why does this happen? That's because individuals prioritize and consider only the private benefit, and they ignore your external cost. Like, for example, environmental impact. They don't care because it's not their problem and they just want to get rich. So then what happens is your MPC is less than your MSC, and that's going to lead to overconsumption. So what are some characteristics of tragedy of commons? This means that you have something that is non-excludable, aka you cannot prevent people from accessing it. And also, it is something that is rivalable, which means that one person's use reduces others' usage because there's a limited amount. So like, you have 6 copies of an album, you buy one of them, now there's only 5, so less people can use it. So some common examples include overfishing, air pollution, and also public grazing land. Because, for example, you have a whole bunch of gazelle. You want your gazelle to eat a lot of food so you can sell them. And you don't really care that the environment is being hurt because it's not your problem. So tragedy of commons, this is when you have negative externality. So again, this is when the market EQM is greater than the socially optimal quantity, so then you get dead weight loss. The solutions to this are government regulation, like quotas, laws, permits, or privatization, or taxes, Pigovian. And these internalize external costs. So what that means is it makes the people who are doing this overconsumption have a stake in the things that they are doing. So now they're affected. Now they care. Privatization is assigning property rights. Now that the land is no longer public land, now people are incentivized to maintain the land so it doesn't erode. So, common resource overuse and depletion. That means negative externality, overproduction, and you need regulation or property rights. Now, let's think about Coase theorem. The idea is if these conditions are met, then private bargaining between two consenting groups will eventually come to a socially optimal outcome for both of them. Your first is the clear property rights. You also have transaction costs that are low, and you also have few parties, which means easy negotiation. Efficiency is achieved regardless of who holds the rights, but your distribution of income changes. So, for example, if a factory pollutes, it harms the farmer. So case 1. So in case 1, the farmer has rights. So the factory is going to pay the farmer to produce pollution. So the factory is going to get permission by paying a compensation to the farmer. Now in the second scenario, the factory, it also has rights. So it's going to keep doing what it's doing. But the farmer is going to be the one to take action, and it's going to pay the factory to reduce the pollution. So you're paying the factory to stop what they're doing. So both sides are going to compare the benefit of the activity until your MSB is equal to MSC. This is when it succeeds, but when it fails, or information problems. So this is a private solution to externalities. Those unintended third-party results that are either a benefit or a cost. Now, tragedy of commons is when you overuse your shared resources. And your social optimization is you want to maximize your social benefit / welfare.